Hello, everyone out there in YouTube world and beyond. Welcome to the Ron and Bruce Show. My name is Bruce, and I am joined by none other than the great, the fantastic, the brilliant Ron.
I love that intro, Bruce. Thank you very much. And likewise, I'm with the brilliant, the super articulate, the well-read. Look at all those books, and I'm just gonna say it again, like a little bit too good looking, like where it's like it's edging on like it's hard to look at, that much good looking. Bruce, Bruce colon,
Thank you.
colon, my brother, Bruce, Bruce. We got an exciting episode today, and you don't even know how we're gonna structure it.
I don't. This is like all surprise to me, so I'm just rolling.
I know, but we've had all these episodes where about the Beatles and about music and wrestling. That was your domain. But
Yeah.
today, literally today, we're in my dojo, son.
We're in your turf, man.
Yeah, we're in my turf, bro. We're gonna talk about. So this is something that we want to talk about, and I think it's totally in our wheelhouse. We're gonna talk. The season 4 trailer of Cobra Kai came out recently, and we're like, we have to talk about Cobra Kai.
Yeah, it's been long overdue, right? Because obviously we did Rocky, and in that kind of similar vein, we said, you know what? We have to at some point circle back to Cobra Kai, and the timing is perfect. With that trailer dropping, we're coming fast upon season 4, so good a time as any to sort of get caught up and do our bit on this.
100%. And what's your impression? Because like when I found out that you like Cobra Kai, I was like really excited. I didn't know because when I'm not getting hate text messages from you about the current administration at Lucasfilm, I just assume it's going to be angry text.
If we were to print these texts, Ron, it would be like the Dead Sea Scrolls or something. It's just it's ridiculous. I know.
If we printed out those texts, one of us would end up dead in the Dead Sea, And you don't like you float at the Dead Sea, you don't sink, so that sounds painful. I know you get really worked up about Lucasfilm.
Well,
But the reason that I bring up even Lucasfilm is because we have at the core of this situation. I want to know in general what you think about the trailer. We're going to talk about Cobra Kai, but at the kind of you're talking about the structure, the frame. I want to talk about a situation where they did it right. We've talked about Creed 1, Creed 2, where they did it right. This is in a way, this is so different than the source material, and yet exists. They call it the Miyagi verse. I looked it up today.
yeah,
They had to account for Karate Kid 4, where it's Mr. Miyagi and oh my god, what's her name? I just forgot. Like
the Hillary Swank character,
Hillary
right?
Swank. Yeah, Hillary
Yeah,
Swank's character. Yeah. So so it's a Miyagi verse, and they do not include. I want to say they do not include the 1989 cartoon. Did you ever see it? It was one season of the Karate Kid cartoon. You
I
know what I'm
remember
talking about?
bits of it. Yeah,
It was awful because that was the time where they were doing all these like video game cartoons, like Nintendo Power and like Mega Man. Or no, it was like what was that cartoon? Oh my god, I'm like not prepared to. There was a cartoon with Mega Man and like King Hippo. It was like a total Nintendo ad cartoon every Saturday morning. But yeah, so they did all these like crazy. They did Rambo cartoon.
I
That not
remember the
appropriate.
Rambo cartoon. Yeah,
Yeah. So this was Daniel and Mr. Miyagi traveling around like the world looking for relics. It's like Indiana Jones meets Karate Kid.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you're telling me that this somehow is not canon in this world?
Nope. Nope. Not canon.
No,
Not canon. So okay,
shocker.
what I know, right? It blows my mind too every day. I'm like, how is this not? But with you, brother, what do you think? What do you think about the season 4 trailer? What are you excited about? What do you feel like it surprised you?
Top on the list of excitement. Of course, it goes even prior because we foresaw this coming. The return of Terry Silver. That's the big one, right? And what's exciting, and it's funny that we tied in with Lucasfilm because there is a parallel to be made with this. We'll get into it in a bit, but like you said, doing it right, legacy characters, respecting the property, creators that really love, know, understand this, and are not compromising legacy characters to get over new characters. With this trailer, it looks like a nice continuation of it because again, these guys know what they're doing. And it looks like, unlike Lucasfilm with the sequels, that they've actually mapped it out. These guys have said that they have an endpoint already in mind. So everything, you can tell it's weaved together in a way where there are payoffs to each of these seasons, and it's going somewhere. It feels cohesive. They have the end game in mind, and you can see with this, it's a continuation. It doesn't feel superfluous, like, oh, it's another season just because it happened to become real successful now on Netflix. Because obviously this was a show that started off on YouTube Red to get subscriptions. Again, low profile. And obviously when the trailer for that first one hit, it's like, oh my God, you're kind of cringing, like, oh my God, are they really doing this? Turns out to be a great hit, successful with critics, audiences, kind of surprise hit. Lands at Netflix, where it finds the audience that it really deserves, becomes a massive hit, which is great for the property because it's going to ensure that whatever the creators have in mind, they're going to be able to follow through on. But specific to the trailer, obviously the return of Terry Silver is huge, because what these creators are also really good at doing is that they're even like pretty much how Rocky Balboa and Creed also did the same thing. They're strengthening even the lesser aspects of this franchise. You take Karate Kid Part 3, and obviously it's kind of debatable people's take on that, but they're managing to take the best of each of these films and doing something with it. So I don't know if you have something. It sounds like you might have something.
Yeah, Terry Silver is such an interesting. I've watched other videos about Terry Silver, and it's such an interesting. I think to say paradox would be, or like giving it too much weight. But yeah, Karate Kid is a total miss because Karate Kid 3 is a total miss in a way because, I recently watched Karate Kid 1 with my daughter, and then we started watching Karate Kid 2, and she wasn't into the second one, but I finished it, and I'm like, Karate Kid 2, I think, is a really good, like, I don't know that it's an amazing movie. Pat Morita is amazing in it. Like, he has some scenes where I was in tears. And he's incredible in it. But, like, Karate Kid 2 is an interesting John Avildsen movie where it feels more personal. It's more about, like, this son and dad relationship. It feels almost like a smaller movie in scope. It's not as much about the bullying. It's about really like dads and sons. Like, I don't know. It's a really beautiful film in a way. And they still keep some of the beats from the first movie. Like, okay, he has to. My daughter at one point, she's like, "Oh my God, this is the same as the first one." Like one of the fight scenes where they were chosen and the other guys come and storm the house. She felt like she's like, it's the same. When then Mr. Miyagi comes and kicks the shit out of him. She's like, this is just like the skeleton scene, I was like, yeah, that's very astute, right? But it still feels like its own. It feels like an evolution where you're just spending more time with these characters that you've grown to love and enjoy. And then Karate Kid 3, they try to like retrace their steps. I feel like by having it be another All Valley tournament, by having by having the kata instead of the crane technique. That makes no sense.
They bring Kreese back in a big way. Yeah.
Right? And then Terry Silver, though, is the first time that we get this, like, bombastic, like, mustache twirling villain.
Scenery chewing over the top.
But he's 100% scenery chewing. Like, if he's in the scene, like, it was Ralph Macchio in that movie, or was, Martin Kove in that movie? I don't remember them. Yeah, the thing I remember is Terry Silver. I don't remember the actor's name. Like, and he hasn't gone on. I mean, he's a phenomenal actor in this movie. Yep. And his job is not easy. Like, there's scenes in Karate Kid 3, like, there's a scene where he's in the bathtub with his assistant, and they play it, like, straight. Where she's like, so, sir, do you want to, the radioactive waste, do you want to, do you want to throw it? He's like, yeah, just throw it. And then she's like, should we pay off what do you want to do with the judges? And he's like, just pay them off. And it's like so fascinating because he plays it so natural. And they're friends. Like, he's actually the people that he likes, he's really nice to. Like, you kind of like his relationship with Kreese. Yeah.
And even the way he ingratiates himself with Daniel, you see a side where, I mean, it's conniving and stuff, but you see a side that almost is kind of paternal and like, this is a cool guy, he'd make a great mentor, right? Why not?
Yeah, like, he's very endearing. Like, he's very charming, So you have this amazing character that is just they cranked up to a 12, like, it's just too much for that movie. Whereas, again, like, it's a John G. Avildsen movie, right? Like, Karate Kid is still very gritty. And it's based on, it's the writer of Karate Kid, like, it's based on his life. Like, it actually, He was bullied. He went to study karate. He had a teacher that sucked, that was like really violent and very like go out and hurt people. And then he switched to an Okinawan teacher who didn't speak English, but like was really all about like the self defense and the message and everything. So and then they bring in Ableton because they wanted to make a Rocky movie, and Stallone, I guess, was like, "Come on, you guys, like you're making Rocky movies, you know?"
Yeah, yeah.
And but Karate Kid 3 just feels like this cartoon almost. But the aspect that is cartoonish is phenomenal. So it's like, yes, like I've been waiting for 4 seasons to bring him back because I want something good. Like I want him to be in something like that. He deserves a shot, like Henry Cavill.
Well, I think that's also what.
Did I just hear you? That said Henry Cavill deserves a good Superman movie.
Ron, you got to let it go. It's eating you up inside, the Superman stuff. So, but that's for another video. But I totally hear you on what you're saying here, because I do feel like they're going to like the Terry Silver character was serviced by that film, right? But you have these creators, they're going to do something phenomenal with this character because it's a great character. Bring them back into this current Cobra Kai universe, and they're going to maximize the potential of that for sure. So that's really, really exciting. And also, it's kind of what's exciting me about the Obi-Wan thing of actually giving Hayden Christensen a chance to kind of redeem and work with a better director and put in a better version of that character. I think it's going to be the same thing with the Terry Silver character in this, in that it's going to be very well utilized. Even just the way they've planted the seed and did the backstory in season 3, it's already, that they've done a great job in preparing and laying down the groundwork for this.
Yeah, okay, again, and this is a conversation that you and I have all the time. Season 3, laying down the backstory with respect, with humility, with humanity. Like, you totally understand. You go, whoa, okay. So when the kid and I were watching Karate Kid 1, she's like, their teacher's awful. He's so mean. No, I'm sorry. We were watching Karate Kid 2. The beginning scene where he like punches the door, the windows.
The windows, yeah.
The windows, right? And it's like that, a beautifully directed scene, I think. That was supposed to be the ending for Karate Kid 1.
Right, yeah.
Right? And then but they did like a Rocky ending where it just ends on that high note. So she sees that and she's like, he's so mean. And I'm like, well, babe, we've learned in other incarnations of other entries into the canon, we've learned that he actually has PTSD. Like he went to war in Vietnam and he just fucked with his head. And she's like, yeah, he's really mean. She's 6. She's 6.
That's all that mattered.
Yeah, she's 6. But regardless, like I loved how they did that. That's an example, and I'm winding you up right now. That's an example of taking a legacy character and really going deep into their backstory and justifying it in such a human way. I know you are a big fan of The Last Jedi.
Had to do it, right? You had to do it. Well, I think I like that second only to how much you loved Batman versus Superman. I mean, I don't think I'm quite there with Last
Jedi.
Now
you're being rude. Now you're just being rude. Right, but Star Wars, Star Wars has been such a good example of like taking all the stuff that we love. I mean, the prequels are the best example. Like Anakin created C-3PO. Did I need that? Like I didn't need that.
You didn't know you needed it, Ron. That's what it was.
Or Boba Fett and Jango Fett. Who fucking cares? Like, I mean, like, you know what? Hey, if someone's watching this, because we've been getting views, if someone's watching this video and is a diehard Boba Fett fan, I gotta tell you, I met Jeremy Bullock like years ago. Really nice guy. I love Boba Fett. I'm not an anti. I don't get. I got it. Like I always thought he was cool as hell. Like. I really did. I always like Boba Fett, so I'm not judging. But like that backstory, holy goodness, Bruce. Lucas did a great job of being like, oh yeah, all that stuff that you love. You're not. It's stupid. You're not gonna love it anymore.
Well, again, what's great about Cobra Kai, and they've proven it beyond a shadow of a doubt, because there's always that feeling like, oh, you never want to dip back into the well. It's kind of hard to capture lightning in a bottle twice. These people have done it. And they've proven that you can do it in a way. The problem, again, and we've talked about this with Lucasfilm, but I'll just address it real quick here, is that there's also more politics involved the agenda is more political, rather than really telling a coherent story. And you could saw that was written all over the sequels. With Cobra Kai, these creators, they're about the story and the characters and respecting the legacy characters. At the same time, they're not going to rely on the legacy characters, because you can't do that, if you're trying to sort of broaden the property. So it's teen drama, and I know what a big fan of teen dramas that you are.
I love it. I love it.
So this show had kind of gives you the best of both worlds. It's respecting the legacy characters, using them to give the rub, but in a meaningful way. It's not like kind of just having them as token characters. They're integral to passing the baton. So that way it makes whatever you're giving to the new characters, it's making it much more meaningful as a result.
107%. And this goes back to your point about each season is justified. It doesn't feel like it's just aimless. Like, and again, I have to bring this up. The sequels, the Star Wars sequels, they demolished the reason where it starts and ends for me is that when they bring back the First Order, let's be honest, it's not the First Order, it's the Order it again. I'm sorry, can I order this? I need to send this back because it's just I didn't like. I asked for no ham on it, and so could you please? Yeah, it's the Order it back.
Oh, you got plenty of ham on that second order. Let me tell you.
I know this is hammy. This is cheesy and hammy. The point is that like when they bring back the First Order, and then I'm talking about it like it's a real thing. When they bring back the Emperor, which I don't take that seriously. To me, that's a Saturday Night Live sketch. When they bring back they completely demolished everything that happened before. So anything that you're using the young people for now, I see your moves. Like I see it. You're telegraphing your punches. Like it's just you're just trying to sell toys. Whereas they found this amazing hook where we want to do a redemption story, and we go, let's take this character who was very imposing. And Johnny Lawrence was a very imposing villain. He's only in the first one. And what a great character he was. Like I always loved Johnny Lawrence.
That is one of our classic 80s heel characters. That character never went away. And it was just like that, really the majority was just that one film, but we all know that actor and remember him, for that, if nothing else, and he's gone on to do directing and do other stuff that's meaningful. But what they did with that character was brilliant, and flipping the script with him and Daniel and bringing out more of Daniel's heelishness that was already there in part 1 and especially in part 3, bring up that unlikableness and just have them kind of flip was a brilliant way to start the story and kind of turn it on its head.
And it justifies the existence of the 4 seasons or 5 seasons. I know there's a 5th one coming too. So it's like it was a great way into the piece. It's a great way into the world, back into the world, where you go, let's take. He's not an ancillary character, because even watching Karate Kid 2 recently, like the stakes at the end of Karate Kid 2 are pretty high. Like Chosen has a knife, and Chosen is fighting to the death. And I remember thinking like a few years back, it's Karate Kid 2, I don't buy that Daniel can fight. Like in the first one, his level of fighting doesn't match theirs.
Sure.
So that one's like a stretch. Whereas actually, I'm like, there's some time has gone by, and you actually he does become a good fighter. Because in Cobra Kai, it's established that he's a good fighter, and he does do better fight scenes. Even though Machio is as stiff as Keanu Reeves is when he's talking.
Right.
He's not an athlete, but I believe that he can hold his own, and I think that's but in Karate Kid 2, it's more believable that he could hold his own against someone who's trying to kill him. Johnny does feel like more of a threat though, than any other characters in that franchise, because he's just learning. And Johnny's a badass, and he's angry, and he could lose control and kill him. And even he has redemptive moments in the fight. And then at the end, the last scene, he goes, "You're great." He's like, "You're a great champion," or something. He high fives him.
Yep. There were seeds for his redemption, even as far back as that, which was a brilliant thing that the creators tapped into. And that's kind of what made the character so fascinating to begin with. And he is, he looks more like an athlete. He performs more like an athlete. He's phenomenal throughout this series in the fights that he does. even better than he was back in the day. It's incredible to see.
he is the best thing about the show. I mean, like, I was never a real big Ralph Macchio fan. Like, I just don't think he's a phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
Like, again, I think he's very stiff, and I don't know. I think William Zabka is incredible in the show, and I think part of, like, I read that part of the genesis of this was that he directed a music video called "Sweep the Leg," and
Yeah.
right, and
I heard about that. And he had the cameos from, yeah.
yeah, and he had a cameo as Johnny Lawrence, and then he's like, he was in an interview, and he's like, yeah, he's like, Daniel's a punk. And Daniel does instigate most of this. Daniel doesn't just shut the fuck up. Like, Daniel, I mean, when you see the movie, like, it is not revisionist history. Like, Daniel, like, prompts all. I mean, the guy is like, you don't mess with a dude who is upset. Like, Johnny's upset about his breakup. Like, it's clear. Like, that first scene with Johnny and Karate Kid. And I'm harkening back to the Karate Kid because I have to set up the world, you know? Like, I need to see it.
Sure.
The first scene between him and Allie when they're coming down with, like in their motorbikes and stuff, he's a kid. He's like, just leave me alone. Like, he warns Daniel. He's like, don't start. You know? And he's a dick to her, but, like, okay, he's a kid from the 80s. He's entitled to rich kid. Like, it sucks, but he's like a dick. But he's not dick to Daniel. And then Daniel just gets in there and punches him. Like, what do you want to train martial artists to do, you know? So he brings this up in an interview in, like, 2007, 2008. And then he's in him, William Zabka, and Ralph Macchio, and they have cameos in How I Met Your Mother, which I didn't watch. I've seen the video where they invite Ralph Macchio to, like, a bachelor party, and then William Zabka's wearing a clown outfit. And he's like, and it's like this reunion. And so I love that the writers, like had to have been aware of that, and that might have sparked something for them. And they go, wait, that's interesting. Like, what if William Zabka, or what if Johnny's, you know?
For sure. And I think also part of the brilliance of it, the character's justified, right? And everything that from their point of view, and, you know, each character is. But I also thought by using the Johnny Lawrence character as the in to this, it's also a great way to contrast the generational thing and tapping into sort of like the woke narrative, but not buying into it, but they're kind of poking gentle fun at that, and like the generational disconnect. And, you know, Johnny kind of obviously a non-PC character. You know, when we first meet him, he still has the same old car, listening to the same 80s hair metal music, that kind of thing. So like a dinosaur. So again, what a great way to even use that aspect of the character to bring them into this world, these kids, you know, this new generation, and have that be something you play off of as well.
And again, it justifies the intention. It justifies every season, right? Because I'm invested in his growth, right? And then we see Daniel, like you said, as a heel, as kind of a heel, as kind of a jerk, like, and like, but even Daniel's progression, I mean, that is Daniel LaRusso. Like, so many other shows and movies have not been able to do this. That is Daniel LaRusso.
Yeah, and I got to give Macchio credit too, because you know, obviously him and William are, I think, producers on this, so they have stakes in this, big stakes. But even being willing to have the character for that first season look the way it did, because that was also a character that there was a redemption story for that character too, because that character had grown a bit self-righteous, you know, when we see in season 1, and, you know, kind of unlikable. You're kind of rooting for Johnny, and obviously writers cleverly paved that way so that you would have that perspective. But then he goes on a great journey and then becomes much more likable with each passing season, as well as he realizes how dogmatic he is and disconnected and all that too. And, you know, especially in this last season 3 where he goes on this journey, you know, this quest, and, you know, goes back to Japan, all that stuff, rediscovers some roots. I thought it was very, very well done.
And that's one of those things, like, I don't, like, I know the season 3 when he sees Kumiko and he sees Chosen and he fights with Chosen, like, that got my heart pumping. Like, so many people, I have to bring this up as an example, like Luke Skywalker in Mandalorian. It's not Mark Hamill. Like, I think he did the voice or something. I don't know, but, like, it's not Mark Hamill.
He did the body acting. They I think in one of the behind the scenes things they.
Oh right, he does that facial.
Yeah.
Thing. Still though, like, I didn't care. It wasn't Luke Skywalker. It wasn't 1983.
It wasn't your Luke.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it wasn't. Yeah, so no offense for anyone else. It wasn't my Luke, and I know it's not, and I know it's a CGI face, and I know it's all these things, and
right.
Like, they, you know, had they gotten, I will say, if they had gotten Sebastian Stan, to do it, which I don't get why they haven't done that yet. Like recast Luke
I
Skywalker.
know, and a lot of people were expecting it. That was what the expectation was, that he
Yeah.
would be the one when he uncloaked, and then leading into future seasons. But it's going to be very curious if they want to develop the Luke character moving forward. Like, are they going to use
Right.
CGI Luke? You know, kind of what's going on. Again, separate issue, but I see what you're saying.
But I'm saying is like that didn't get my heart going. Someone texted me, dude, you need to see the last 5 minutes, and I was like I will say Rogue One, the last 5 minutes, that got me. But like this thing, I was like, you just copied Rogue One. I'm not into it. When I saw Chosen and they're fighting each other, and I see Kumiko, like that did it for me. Like that was like, oh, that's what everyone else is feeling right now with all these reboots and like all the legacy characters. I was like, this is my jam right here. This is what's up, And I think they just did such a good job with that. Like with again, I mean, it's just you need him to go to all these places. You need him to reconnect with his past because you go. Like, the way that this is justified for me is that, okay, so these two legacy characters, they're not living vicariously through, but they're learning to reconnect with their authentic selves, like their true selves, through these kids, through the mirror of these kids. Daniel's daughter and, I forgot his name.
Miguel,
thank you, Miguel. And through, so you have, like, they had this period in their lives where for Johnny it kind of goes downhill after the first movie, but I could see where for Daniel it goes. You see the seeds being set like in Rocky 3, in Karate Kid 3. You see that Daniel's going to go down a dark path. Like Karate Kid 3 doesn't. I mean, the way that he punches that guy and like breaks that guy's nose at the club, it didn't take much for him to do that.
Right. Quick to anger. Yep.
Yeah, and that's what happened. That's what got him in the movie in the first place. Like, that's what got Daniel to learn karate because his anger, he kept pushing. Like, the shower scene, like the Halloween scene in Karate Kid 1.
Yep.
That's asinine.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, and you wouldn't let it go. He's got that temper, and couldn't leave well enough alone.
Yeah, I love it. He couldn't leave well enough alone.
Yeah.
And he's not wrong. Like, he's not, again, Johnny Lawrence is not condescending him. He's like.
I remember even watching in the theater and thinking, yeah, you kind of deserve to get your ass kicked for this one.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it's terrible. Yeah, like, it's so. And they're dressed as skeletons. Like, they look scary. It's worth mentioning Karate Kid that's not really Karate Kid, the Kung Fu one with Jaden Smith. Did you see that one? William Smith.
I did. The reboot. No, I didn't see that one.
It's a phenomenal martial arts movie, I will tell you. And it's like they took Karate Kid and they made a Kung Fu version with Jackie Chan. And Jackie Chan is really good in it, I think. He's really engaging. He's really dark and like sad. And I think it's a really well constructed movie. It is not karate. I mean, it's not of the universe, and it's kung fu. They literally are doing kung fu. So I don't appreciate that name, but that they say Karate Kid. But regardless, I don't know why I brought that up. But the point is that
I mean, to tie it into, Will Smith is also a producer on this.
I know he got the rights. Yeah, I think he owns the rights. Yeah. So the point is that they do this. So they use the young kids as a way for them to like reconnect with this time in their past where they were at their best, right? So Johnny is at his best right before he loses the All Valley tournament. And you kind of see, I think, glimpses of it in, I know I'm talking a lot about Karate Kid, but we see glimpses of it in the dance with Allie. Do you remember that when they're in the dance, like
sure, yep,
at the country club? He's actually like really nice, and he's like that's all he wanted was to be with her, and that's what I love that they have the time. Was it season 2 or 3 where him and Allie meet up at the country club? Was it 3? Yeah. So they meet up and they sit together on the bench and they go to the arcade and stuff. Like that was heavenly. But it was necessary. What I'm getting at again, it's to your point. You nailed the point of this whole episode. It was necessary. I needed them to go to that place. Yeah, it's an Easter egg. It's fan service, but it made sense that they would go there and they would have a date there, and like they had time, and then they go in, and she's divorced, and then they have closure.
So it's logical for where the characters are in their lives, and it all. That's the thing, and that's why I have faith in these creators. Is that it's fan servicey, but it's not gratuitous. You know what I mean? You can tell when fan service feels cheap. It just doesn't land, and you kind of you feel cheap as a devoted fan of these properties when you kind of get pandered to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's not that. It's it does it with heart, a lot of heart. And, again, it doesn't set out to subvert expectations. You know what I mean?
Right.
These creators are so smart about knowing that, this show, well, the movies, it's a simple story.
Right.
It's fairly simple. It's fun. It has heart. It's cheesy at times, so it has the right amount of the cheesy element. But you don't need to flip everything on its head and reinvent it just for the sake of being clever, or just trying to amuse yourself as a writer or as a creator.
That's the point.
Or forcibly put your stamp on it in an arrogant way that undermines canon, undermines what people love about the franchise.
Thank you. We're done with this episode. That is literally all I wanted you to say. You don't need to do it. You don't need to reinvent something that we already love. There ain't no shame, Like, just continue it. Just continue it. That's it.
Absolutely. Hey, these people overthink, and in Hollywood, a lot of these people, they just overthink this stuff, and it doesn't need to be that complicated.
Or if you want to overthink
it, characters that we love. You have characters already that we love. You can, again, build upon a new generation of that. That's logical. But you don't have to get overly clever, or you don't have to undercut. You don't have to destroy these characters because, no one saw that coming. Well, there's a lot of things that you can do to a lot of properties that people wouldn't see coming, but it doesn't make a shitload of sense. So,
right. I mean, you don't, right. Like, I like, if you want to, like, to your point, like, if you want to overthink something, I have an idea. Ready? I'm going to say something shocking. This is going to be crazy what I'm about to say. If you want
to myself, Ron.
brace yourself. Yeah. If you want to overthink something and put your own stamp on it, create new properties.
Exactly.
Don't reboot.
Exactly. And again, I think that's where these creators too, you could tell that they do like Star Wars, like the historic Star Wars, because they borrow elements of that, and you can tell they also paid attention to what was going on with Lucasfilm with these new properties, because they did not make the same mistakes in terms of undermining legacy characters.
It's such a big. Oh, sorry, I keep cutting you off. I'm so excited. No, like this is the final. This is our final, like my final bitching about this, and it's so imperative to bring up the Star Wars thing, because Star Wars at the OT, very basic storytelling, like basic story arc, hero's journey. Also for me, lightsabers, like the Jedi philosophy. All I care about is the Jedi philosophy. I'm not into the space fights. That's just not. I'm not a fighter pilot. I'm not into war movies. It's just not my thing. Like, I love the hero's journey, and I love like the heroic nature of Luke going from farm boy to bringing down the Empire. I love lightsabers. I love the Force. I love Force grabs. I love Force pushes. I will tell you.
But do you like Force chokes?
Yeah, I like Force chokes.
Okay.
I love that shit. It's practical. I also, along those lines, I also love. I'm a romantic. I know you're gonna laugh at me because I know you're not about this. For me, I love the progression of a character learning to be really skilled by practicing and learning and studying under a mentor. I know you're all about the Rey not studying, Bruce. I know that's a big thing for you that you stand by. They're like, what? She's like the best Jedi ever. It's fine. She doesn't need to learn. My daughter thinks the same thing. She's like, I play piano.
Well, it's funny you mention that, Ron, because everywhere I go, I don't even tell people, and they look at me and they go, yep, Reylo. Anyway, any story, any property or franchise that we love that's been worth its salt, it's all at core the Joseph Campbell stuff. It's the hero's journey. That's what it's about. It's about you taking someone, at a basic fundamental level, flawed, not perfect, hint, hint, not already fully formed, because what kind of story do you have then, right? It's not relatable. So you take someone who again has flaws, and you take them on that arc, and that's where everything else is just in service of that. And these guys are very faithful to that as well with this new generation, imparting these useful philosophies that worked, and seeing the friction of like the mentor and mentee. That's always rich and stuff. But at essence, it's all about that hero's journey, and that will never. You go back to Greek mythology, you go back to Shakespeare. That will never, ever not work.
100%. And you see it working. You see Johnny and Daniel growing, and then the kids growing as well, right? Like, so you took the characters that you loved watching learn and grow and make mistakes and foibles and fall and pick themselves up, and then you've also added a new generation that's doing it as well concurrently to them. Like, I loved when, like, I was really into Johnny's journey with Miguel's mom. You know, I thought that was really cool, like how he's changing and how he's bettering himself, and then he falls, and then he, you know, like, he falls from grace, and then he has to get back up, and then they're together. They're not like I was really into that. I'm not a fan of. I'm a fan of Daniel's wife. Are you a fan of her? Like, I'm a fan of the character.
I've gotten to like her more as the seasons have gone on, because she kind of has that ballsy side, especially when she stands up to Kreese. I'm like, you know what? She seemed like cold, and I thought that they were in the first season, and I thought that they were pointedly setting that up, because I thought they brought Allie back. That was just going to be the easy cliche way out of that marriage for him and to kind of reconnect. Thankfully, they didn't do that. There was a very good use of Allie in this season. But she's grown on me. She's grown on me. She's gotten better with each season as well. That's a character they improve.
My final person I want to talk about before we end this, we have to talk about, is Kreese.
Oh,
they have done so. I mean, if there's an A+ here, it's, I mean, Martin Kove is always an A+, but like what they've done with Kreese is just yep. I believe it. I buy it.
It proves that you can take a character that already kind of achieved legendary status. You're like, oh, can you ever kind of build a story? Yes, you can. You can make his story even fuller and richer. They've given that guy, who we all love from the Karate Kid movies, you wanted to see him back. So when he shows up at the end of season 1, you're kind of flipping your lid. Can't wait for the second season. But what they've done, the material they've given him, the arc, and then especially filling that out with the unexpected, really nuanced backstory. Oh my God, like brilliant.
And he Terry Silvers it up. So it's also teeing up Terry Silver, right? Because he's like,
absolutely.
He's like, hey, I'm your friend. I'm here with you. I'll help you. Come on, let's get you up. I'm so proud of you. You were my son. You know, like, and then you see Johnny's backstory with the evil Ed Asner dad, and so, you know, and then he turns on him, and you're like, you know it's coming. You know he's a heel.
The whole way. I mean, the beautiful thing is, like, when he's going to step out the door feeling sorry for himself, hey, you know, I only meant to do good. He's walking out. And when Johnny says, you know, like, he stops him, and you get that look, you're like, oh, shit. And you knew it. You knew it was coming.
I mean, it's wrestling. It's wrestling 101, right? Like, you know he is the best kind of heel of all, because you love to hate him.
And that's the thing. Give people what they want. That, you know, because that's the other failing of a lot of these other franchises. It's like, oh, we don't want to go there, make it obvious. No, sometimes the obvious is going to work for a reason. You can go ahead.
When it's set up. No, sorry. When it's set up.
When you've done the groundwork for it. Exactly. Not just doing it gratuitously. When you do it in a smart way, yes, by all means, give people what their natural inclination, what they're yearning for, you know? Serve it up.
I have to say, so I'm a comedian, and I also so I write material, and then I work with clients to write stories and write speeches and videos. So I create content, you know, like I create content. So it's easy for me to go shit on someone else's content. You know what I'm saying? I feel really bad doing it, but
Ron, that's what 99% of the internet is. So it's no problem.
I'm stepping into it. So I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that might not be into my.
It's a national pastime. It's everyone's recreational sport.
Well, then in that case, I'm embracing it, and I'm gonna bring up a fucking scroll explaining. By the way, the Emperor's back. Like, when it's that's really harsh. That's like whoa. That's like meeting someone going, hey, can I have your phone number? Whoa.
Yeah.
Right?
That was like a blatant kind of desperate Hail Mary move. Whereas with this you can tell these guys, it wasn't like the sequels that was not planned out. And so you don't have any story that makes sense. You could tell with Cobra Kai, these guys said, hey, if we actually get to a second season, this is what we want to do. This is what we're going to want to do in the third season. And this is where that's the beauty of knowing what your end game is.
Yep.
Everything that they're doing is logically, and you feel that with each season, with each episode. I never felt like any of these episodes were gratuitous
No.
or the characters were gratuitous. It's I feel kind of safely guided along.
It's
with each of
lean.
these.
It's very lean.
Yeah,
Like there's not much fat. There's not. Oh, you know that scene in season 2? No, like it's lean. I mean, it gets you there. You know, who's a great new? Who's my favorite new character? Is now I'm blank. I'm tired. It's Tori, right? Tori is the girl.
Yeah.
On Cobra Kai. Yeah, I love that character, and I'm waiting for them to be like she's Terry Silver's daughter.
a lot of people are speculating on that. So I
Yeah.
wonder if they'll actually do that, or it could be a whole other spin too. You know, she could be the daughter of the other guy who I forgot was under Terry Silver, but was fighting Daniel on that. Because I know
Mike Barnes.
because that's a character they need to bring back too. We'll
Mike
see what
Barnes.
they do at some point. But it would be a better tie-in with Silver for sure.
Or they're talking. I saw somewhere where they're talking about Hilary Swank's character too.
That'd be great also. I mean, because
Yeah.
that'd be unexpected, but at some point they have to give her a purposeful story. And you know they will. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point, even if it's the season finale for season 4, if she's factored into it somehow to lead
Yeah.
into season 5.
But again, she's a great character because their villains are not just like in Cobra Kai. The villains are so nuanced. And again, after this whole season spending all that Vietnam time with Kreese, I hate Kreese I hate him so much. He's awful, but like, man, I want more Kreese.
Well, man, I mean, it was a bold, clever, creative thing to make him heroic in the Vietnam flashbacks.
Right.
I thought that was great too.
And I loved how they like the Terry Silver reveal at the end, because I was like, which one's Terry Silver? Oh, is it the guy with the ponytail? And it wasn't, right? If I remember correctly.
No.
Like it wasn't the guy with I was like, oh,
That was a clever little way to, like, oh, I wasn't expecting that.
yeah. At the end, it's like the nerdy guy, the skinny nerdy guy.
Yeah, the guy, shitting his pants in the cage. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, I got you, and you're like, oh, Cobra Kai never die.
But it was cool because then you have the guy with the ponytail, so you can see, oh, he maybe patterned himself after. So it's story-wise, it kind of justifies too. Very
Yeah,
clever.
very clever. Yeah, where he's like, I'm gonna be that guy. I'm gonna rebuild myself.
Yeah.
Oh, so, bottom line, we're all very excited. We just wanted to take this opportunity, I think, just to talk about, in general, Karate Kid, and because we talked about Rocky and everything. So we talked about Karate Kid, and this season 4 trailer was just a great opportunity for us to talk about a situation where they're doing it right. They are doing it right. So kudos to the gang over at Cobra Kai. You're right, Cobra Kai never die. Even the title, what a great idea to call the show Cobra Kai instead of like Karate Kid, YouTube or
Right. Karate Kid, the next generation or whatever kind of thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deep Space Karate Kid.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it should be a good season. We're in good hands. I think watching Johnny and Daniel try to work together. I mean, that's also
Chock full.
Yeah, of potential, good story moments and stuff too. So should be good. Going to be the end of the month. Very exciting. So for those of you, I think on Netflix, you know what to do.
End of December, right?
Yeah, I think it's literally like was it? Just the 30th.
Oh, that's what's up. All right, so
31st, the 31st. So yeah, literally the very end of the month.
So we are recording this in December. Just so if you're watching this and you've already watched it, like, let us know how much you love it.
Yeah, hit us up in the comments, and if you like what we're doing, like, subscribe, send Ron the love letters, or actually send me the love letters, send around all the hate mail, please.
No, I know I'm very insecure. Like, I'm sorry if I offended anyone with my Boba Fett talk.
No, you're not. Never apologize. No mercy.
No mercy.
Mercy's for the weak, Ron.
In this dojo, what is the problem, Mr. Lawrence? I can never get. I always love it when, like, I don't know. That's how I always hear like the motto, like with that at the end of it. What is the problem, Mr. Lawrence? I love that scene so much. Yes, Sensei.
Yeah, great stuff, man. Classic.
Oh man, John G. Ableton. May he rest in peace. He is upstairs. I mean, not in my building. He's upstairs, like uptown. He's right now. I bet he binges Cobra Kai. I bet he's very happy.
Yeah, why wouldn't you be? For sure. It's definitely, like I said, it does it right, honors the legacy, and I'm glad. It's like for someone who, as a teen, grew up with it and can appreciate this new version of it. it's a difficult thing to pull off. It's not as easy to, it's partially, it sounds easier than what people are making it. It should be easier. But the fact that so many people have failed at doing it right really shows that, again, these creators, it's not enough to love the property. You have to have good storytelling chops and all of those things too. And obviously the full cooperation of people who were involved with it to begin with. But you feel the love with every season. It's done right. And like you, I'm looking forward to binging this next season.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. So thank you guys over at Cobra Kai. Thank you, Bruce, for another lovely chat.
Yeah, and thank you, Ron. Looking forward to the next one. I think we got a couple good ones coming up. I think at some point we'll touch upon John Wick as well, because we have that coming out next spring, the next chapter of that. So we'll do a little deep dive into the John Wick series.
And we have Matrix Revolutions coming out in the next few weeks too.
We do. Where it's funny, a buddy of mine said that he's waiting for Keanu Reeves to show up as Neo in John Wick, since he showed up looking like John Wick in Matrix 4.
It's so funny. I know. So like, okay, we should do a Matrix one too, but we'll talk about that.
Sounds good.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Peace.